Knock, knock. Who's there? Megan. Megan who? Megan bringing you another review of Dead City episode 2. I'm sorry that that joke was really cringy, but it lines up with the one that Negan pulled from this episode, which was brilliant, which was knock, knock. Who's there? Butter. You better get your umbrellas out because it's about to goddamn rain. Brilliant. Wow. Didn't think I would see this type of Negan again. He definitely put on a show, and I think that you are lying if you say that you didn't enjoy the show. This episode was fantastic. We start off by chasing the little old lady who made me shit myself in the last episode. We chase her through these apartment buildings. We follow her up this ladder, which shows that Maggie is clearly afraid of heights. She keeps looking down at the dead piling up underneath them. The little old lady zip lines to the next apartment block and then throws the zip line back, almost saying or encouraging them to say, come across, come chase me. Maggie and Negan follow her across the zip line, again showing that Maggie's really afraid of heights. She keeps looking down at the walkers or the city beneath them. She's so close. She makes it almost to the end and gets a little bit stuck, but she refuses any help, any pull from Negan. She's determined to do it herself, so she keeps like nudging herself along till they get to the other side. They get to the other side, and it was a really cute moment here because the little old lady becomes pigeon lady, I guess. Negan trades with her in order for her to show them, you know, the Croats base, I guess you could say. And this was really cute to see because although I like Negan putting on a show, I really like seeing him be nice. This lady was a stranger to them. She took their stuff, and instead of coming at her hostile and aggressive, he's like, yeah, go through my stuff, yeah, let's trade. You want to eat some pigeon? Let's trade some pigeon. Just show me where to go. Like, it was really cute to see him so kind to a stranger, and it was good for Maggie to see that as well. And honestly, it just makes me sit there and think like, oh, how different things could have been if Negan and Rick had have met under different circumstances and could have traded like Pigeon Lady did. So this lady takes Negan and Maggie to her little group, and these guys were really cool. They looked super crafty. Their weapons were sort of construction-like they had nail guns, and then they had some other gun that shot like arrows out of it, and yeah, it just looked like really construction and like handcrafted close ranged weapons, which I thought was really cool. Anyway, they heard Negan and Maggie out, but then Maggie lied to them about how they got there and their intentions. They called bullshit and locked them up in this stinky ass bathroom. But it was here that we got all of the answers, or most of the answers, that I was questioning from last week. Negan tells us about that very important backstory with him and the Croat. He knew that he was a sicko. He knew that he was unhinged, but he needed him for his specific skill set at the sanctuary, which of course was torture. Until one day they caught this girl from the kingdom, and she was scouting out the sanctuary, but Negan just said to let her go. And we all know that's what he would have wanted, because we know that he has this maternal daddy trait, and he loves kids. So he definitely would have said, let her go, like, don't sweat it. You know, that's his attitude towards kids. And instead, the Croat disobeyed Negan and tortured this girl. Negan explained it that he was a very violent and didn't have any morals. That's how I took it from his speech. So Negan had kicked him out of the sanctuary, obviously, and he had one opportunity to kill him. He took his shot and he missed, clipping his ear, which is why he's got no ear, or his ear's all busted up, which answers my question from last week, because I wondered if Negan had ironed his ear like he did with Dwight's face. So yeah, that clears that question up. And Negan growls Maggie for getting them locked up because she lied. He said, you give some, they give some. You know, it's like a trade. You give, you take, and that's how, you know, everybody gets along in this world, or that's how he hopes to. But Maggie just straight up lied, and they called her out on it, which is why they ended up in lockup. Maggie tried to attack him by saying that he's a monster, that it takes a monster to make a monster, suggesting that Negan made the Croat as violent as he is. But Negan explained that, you know, he was already like that. He just needed him for the sanctuary and for his own purposes. And Negan had this beautiful speech about putting on a show. He's not a monster, but he becomes this different character. He puts on this persona in order to be this fearless leader that we've seen him to be. And I know that I always justify the bad guys. I really do. And I know that's a problem of mine, and I've got to fix it. But truly, I think with Negan's, it depends on the perspective that you look at it. It depends on whose lens you're looking at as to whether or not he's a bad guy. I am not justifying what he did. What he did was wrong. But what Rick did was wrong. What Maggie's done is wrong. People have done wrong things in this apocalypse. So it really does depend on, the lens that you're looking through as to who's right and who's wrong in certain situations. And I do feel like Negan has paid for what he's done. We're going to learn a little bit more on that, I'm sure. But I feel like he's trying to redeem himself. He's doing the best that he can to make up for the mistakes that he's made, like you would hope anybody else would do if they've made mistakes like that. And as terrible as that, you would want them to be remorseful. And I truly believe that that's what he is. All right, I'm going to stop defending the bad guy now. During that beautiful conversation that Maggie and Negan were having, a small group of the Croats people come to raid, let's call them Pigeon Ladies group. They take a lot of them out, which is quite sad. But it's also kind of cool because you see them, use them cool ass weapons that I was talking about before. They make their way to the rooftop, and I'll come back later to talk about how beautiful those scenes were. Oh, my heart's fluttering. Anyway, so they get to the rooftop, and there's one of the Croats people who hold the Pigeon Lady hostage. Negan tries to talk him out of it, and he guts her right in front of them, which is really sad to see because although we didn't get much time with this lady, she was like a sweet, cute little old lady, and you really felt like she was really likable, and Negan liked her, and I don't know, it was just kind of sad to see her go so quickly. Anyway, so Negan takes Croat's guy and says, I'm gonna deal with him, you guys leave, go on the zip line and get to safety, including Maggie. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's gonna go beat this guy's head in, he's gonna go do a Glenn, and he doesn't want Maggie to see it. Like, how respectful of him. That's what was going through my mind. But no, we got a show. And I would be lying if I said that I did not miss this Negan and that I do not enjoy this Negan. I would be lying straight up. As soon as he grabbed that guy and said knock knock and started smashing his head through this glass, I was like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. I don't want it. I do want it. I don't want it. I do want it. It's coming. And I was a little bit excited. But before we got to that main part, I've always appreciated Negan's comedy. The lines that they give him, I find truly funny, even if they are cringy. When he called that guy neckbeard and then he turned around and he had a rat's tail. He's like, holy shit, you got a neckbeard and a rat's tail. You need to tuck all that shit back into your helmet and stop distracting us with that shit. I just think it's great. Anyway, really funny. And then, yeah, obviously we see that moment that I just talked about in my introduction there, that cringy ass introduction, sorry again, with the knock knock, letting it rain, and, he does some of these and then guts him a little bit and blood is raining down on the Croat people. Unknowingly to Negan, Maggie was watching along on the sidelines, watching him put on this show, but this show was one of two perfect full circle moments for me in this episode, and I just thought it was brilliant. This whole episode, he tried to explain to her that he is a good person, but sometimes good people need to do bad things. They need to be a different character, put on this different persona, put on this show to instill fear in other people in order to protect your people. And that's exactly what Negan did in this episode, and she got to see that firsthand. He was trying to protect Pigeon Ladies people. Pigeon Ladies people, Pigeon Ladies people. Wow, I thought that would be more of a tongue twister than it was. But anyway, he was trying to protect those people, and he was trying to protect Maggie, and he did that by becoming Negan again and again. I just thought, perfect. I loved it. And the next full circle moment came after that. Maggie gives him this look like, actually, I don't even know what the look is. It was quite confusing because Negan looked disappointed, like, I didn't want you to see that. Why did you have to see that? But Maggie gave this sort of look, I'm hoping, that was like, okay. Or it could have been, you're back, you bastard, rah, 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 rah. I'm gonna hate you for the entire season like I have at the start of these two episodes. I don't know what it was, but I'm hoping it was the first one. Anyway, we get to the rooftop, and this is the second full circle moment that made my heart really happy. Maggie took Negan's advice. They thanked them for helping them and, explained that they don't have a bigger group. This is all they've got. The Croats bad people, but they will help get to him if you want them to. They will help out. And Maggie told the truth. And she looked at Negan, and I thought, what a full circle moment. He said, you give some, they give some. And she was giving some. She was opening herself up, letting her guard down and letting people in. And it was brilliant. It was totally freaking brilliant. And that's where we leave things off there. There were a few other things that happened in that episode. Marshall Armstrong went looking for his brother, who we found, wasn't there. You could put it like that. And then he gets tangled up in one of the Croats traps and he gets captured. So I don't know what the purpose of him going to visit his brother actually was. So I'd like to see a little bit more backstory about that. Again, unanswered questions, and I'd probably just have to wait till next week like I did last week with my unanswered questions. And then we get to see the hilltop, which was really nice. It's a different location, obviously. So it was really nice to see a community thriving again, everybody working together and living happily like we have seen in other communities within The Walking Dead. It was really nice to see that again and know that there is hope, for groups at the end of it all in the apocalypse. So we see this community welcoming in, is it Ginny or Jenny? I'm not too sure. I didn't have the subtitles on, but anyway, the girl that Negan was with in the first episode, we see them trying to welcome her in. She goes to stay the night and then she sneaks out, and I'm assuming she's going to help find Negan. And we also get a flashback with Herschel, which is really good to give him some personality. We see that he's this angsty teenager like most of them are, sure. But I think there's a bit more to it than that. He's really hostile towards Maggie, and I'm really curious to find out why. So yeah, I loved this episode. I really like the world building in this series. I really like how it's shot. I love the zip lining. I love that we get to see these like bird's eye views of like top shots from the city, and you just see like abandoned cars and just an abandoned city, a dead city, filled with dead walkers in it. That's so cool. And we get these really nice like wide shots, long shots of the city, and it's really beautiful to watch. And you get a lot of it from the zip lining, sure, but also just when they're like walking around, just seeing, going from the apartments and the rooftop to rooftops, when they're doing those chases through the rooftops, something's wrong with me because I get really excited by those rooftop chases. My heart just seems to go like, oh, that looks cool. Oh, that looks great. And I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me. Love it in games. I love it in shows. And I love it in this. I like the new group. I think that the new group is pretty friendly. I can't wait to see them team up with Negan and Maggie, hopefully. And we get to see more of those kills with those really creative construction weapons. I don't even know if that's what they're called, but I'm calling them that. I don't know what the actual terminology of weapons are in the apocalypse, but they look like they went to Bunnings and just, crafted and made these really cool weapons, and I want to see more of them using them. Bunnings is a hardware construction store here in Australia. I just thought I'd throw that out for people who don't know what I'm talking about there. Anyway, I thought the dialogue in this was really important. The action was fun. Having Negan return in that sense where he's very Negan again, but we understand why, and we get the backstory as to why he is like that, which I already knew anyway, but it's important for Maggie to hear that story and to see it in action. So I thought that was really important. As I said, I loved how everything came full circle, and I just loved this episode. I thought it was a really fun, really creative, and really important information for where the story's heading, and I can't wait to see more of where the story's heading. Can't wait for episode 3. Let me know in the comment sections what you thought on this episode, and if you can, could you please give this video a like, and if you're not already, please subscribe to my channel, and then head on over to my Instagram and give me a follow over there as well, please. Okay, sweet as. Have a good day. Bye.